Hello friend, this is me, your host. Welcome back to our channel. I hope you all are well and doing great. You all are well, and today I'm back with another videos to give reviews on three books which are all about mind, body and spirits. So the first one so the first one which we're going to see today in this video is the Unbreakable, a woman's guide to aging with power. Introduction. For centuries, aging has been one of the most misunderstood, stigmatized processes in human life, particularly for women. In patriarchal societies, where youth, beauty, and reproductive capacity are placed on a pedestal, women often face diminishing visibility, respect, and worth as they grow older. The media reinforces youthful ideals. The beauty industry profits from insecurities. And workplaces subtly sideline women once they reach middle age. In such a cultural climate, the very concept of aging with power feels revolutionary. Unbreakable, a woman's guide to aging with power emerges as a defiant response to these narratives. It is not a book about resisting age, but about embracing it. It is not about slowing the clock, but about claiming these years as a badge of resilience and wisdom. Through sharp cultural critique, personal insight, and practical guidance, the book insists that aging is not a decline, but a transformation into a fuller, freer version of the self. This review explores the book in depth. It examines its structure, themes, and argument while also considering its strengths, limitations, and broader cultural significance. Ultimately, it reveals how Unbreakable functions as both a guidebook for individuals and a manifesto for collective change. Chapter by chapter review. Chapter 1, Breaking the Myth of Aging. The book begins by confronting the myths that surround aging women. Society has convinced women that their worth is tied to beauty, fertility, and youth. Wrinkles, menopause, and gray hair are often treated as sign of loss. The chapter dismantles these myths, arguing that they are not truths but cultural constructs. The author emphasizes that women fear not aging itself, but what society itself tells them aging means. By rejecting these myths, women can begin to reclaim control over over their own narratives. This chapter sets the foundation. Aging is not a problem to be solved, but a reality to be embraced with strength. Chapter 2: The Body as a Source of Strength. Here, the discussion moves to the physical changes of aging. Instead of focusing on decline, the book reframes the body as a site of power. Each wrinkle is a story, each scar a survival, each grey hair a symbol of resilience. The chapter urges women to focus on health and strength rather than special ideals. It encourages nourishing movement, balanced nutrition, and self care practices that prioritize vitality over appearance. Importantly, it critiques the fitness and diet industries that exploit fears of aging, reminding readers that the goal is not to remain young, but to remain strong. Chapter 3: Beauty Beyond the Mirror. This chapter offers a bold critique of the beauty industry. Women are constantly bombarded with anti aging products and pressured into believing their worth diminishes as their appearance changes. The book calls this out as both sexist and exploitative. Instead of resisting change, the author encourages women to redefine beauty on their own terms. Beauty is reframed as confidence, presence, and authenticity, rather than perfection. For many readers, this chapter becomes the most liberating. It transforms the mirror from a site of judgment into a space of self recognition. Chapter 4: Aging and Work. The workplace is another arena where ageism and sexism intersect. Many women experience professional invisibility once they reach their 40s or 50s. They are passed over for promotions, dismissed as out of touch, or certainly pushed aside in industries that glorify youth. This chapter offers strategies for resisting professional marginalization. It shares stories of women who reinvented their careers, launched businesses, or became mentors in later life. The key message is that relevance does not fade with age, it evolves. Women are urged to leverage their experience and wisdom as forms of power in the workplace. Chapter 5: relationships, boundaries, and renewal. Aging transform how women approach relationships. This chapter highlights how friendships deepen, superficial connections fall away, and new communities form. Women learn to set boundaries, to say no without guilt, and to prioritize relationships that nourish them. The book also addresses love and intimacy, challenging the myth that romance and passion fade with age. Instead, it argues that relationships in later years can be richer, grounded in authenticity and mutual respect, rather than youthful performance or social expectation. Chapter 6: Emotional Resilience and Reinvention. Perhaps the most profound section, this chapter acknowledges that aging inevitably brings loss. Loss of parents, partners, careers, or certain physical abilities. But instead of portraying this as tragic, the book reframes it as an opportunity for resilience and reinvention. Resilience is defined not as denying pain, but as transforming it into wisdom. The author suggests practices like journaling, mindfulness, creative expression, and community support as tools for navigating grief and change. Reinvention is also celebrated, whether it is through travel, activism, new careers, or personal projects. Women are reminded that it is never too late to start again. Chapter 7: The Collective Power of Women. The final chapter expands from the personal to the collective. Aging, author argues, is not just an individual experience but a cultural battleground. If women collectively refuse to be ashamed of their age, they can rewrite societal narratives. This chapter envisions a world where older women are leaders, teachers, and cultural icons. By embracing aging with power, women not only transform themselves but also shift the way society views womanhood. It ends with a call to solidarity. Aging with power is not just possible, it is evolutionary. Major themes: aging as liberation. Far from being a loss, aging is portrayed as freedom from societal expectations. Older women are freer to prioritize authenticity, expression, and personal joy. Rejecting the beauty trap, the book delivers a scathing critique of the beauty industry, which profits by making women feel ashamed of natural aging. True beauty, the book argues, lies in confidence and authenticity, resilience and reinvention. Loss and change are acknowledged but reframed as opportunities for growth. Women are encouraged to embrace reinvention, proving that it is never too late for new beginnings. Visibility and power. While society claims fade into visibility with age, the book insists it's false. Older women possess unique forms of visibility and influence, especially when they embrace their presence with confidence. Collective transformation. Aging is not just about personal resilience, but about reshaping cultural narratives. When women embrace their age, they challenge sexism, ageism, and beauty myths on a societal level. Style and tone. The writing is conversational, warm, and accessible. The author avoids academic jargon, instead speaking directly to readers with humor, empathy, and honesty. The, the book blends cultural critique with personal anecdotes, practical exercises, and affirmations, making it feel both inspiring and relatable. Many sections include reflective questions, allowing readers to apply the lessons to their own lives. This interactive style keeps the book from being purely theoretical theoretical, it becomes a lived, practical guide. Strengths empowering message reframes aging as strength, not weaknesses. Not weakness, balanced approach combines cultural critique with practical advice. Accessibility, written in a relatable, conversational style. Relevance, speaks directly to issues women face today in beauty work. Visionary conclusion extends discussion from individual empowerment to collective cultural transformation. Conclusion. Unbreakable, A Woman's Guide to Aging with Power is more than a book. It is a cultural manifesto. It dismantles myths, critiques critiques exploitative industries, and reframes aging as a source of resilience, authenticity, and power. The book's greatest strength lies in its refusal to sugarcoat reality while still offering hope. It acknowledges grief and loss, but insists that they do not define aging. Instead, women are encouraged to embrace reinvention, set boundaries, and claim their presence unapologetically. Ultimately, Unbreakable is about far more than aging. It is about redefining what it means to be a woman in a culture that undervalues both women and the elderly. It is about rewriting the narrative of worth, beauty, and visibility. And in doing so, it gives women not only permission but also encouragement to age with power, dignity, and joy. The next book which we're going to see today is The Body Keeps the Score: Brain, Mind, and Body in the Healing of Trauma. Introduction. Trauma is among the most widespread yet least understood experiencing shaping human lives. It affects veterans, abuse survivors, children raised in neglect, victims of natural disasters, and countless others whose pain often goes unseen. Traditionally, trauma was either ignored, pathologized as weakness, or treated through approaches that address symptoms without grasping their root cause. In The Body Keeps the Score, psychiatrist Bessel Kolk consolidates over 3 decades of research and clinical practice to argue for a revolutionary view. Trauma is not merely a psychological wound of memory, but a psychological condition that imprints itself on the brain, nervous system, and body. Survivors may consciously move on, but their bodies remain trapped in cycles of hyperarousal, numbness, and disconnection. Healing, therefore, cannot come through words alone. It requires an integrative approach that involves body, mind, and relationships. This review offers a comprehensive chapter by chapter exploration of Vonda Kolk's work, examining its scientific contribution, therapeutic innovations, thematic depth, and broader cultural implications. Part 1: The Rediscovery of Trauma. Chapter 1: Lessons from Vietnam Veterans. The book begins with Vietnam veterans who returned home plagued by nightmares, flashbacks, and uncontrollable ache. Standard psychiatric treatment, such as medication or conventional talk therapy, failed to alleviate their suffering. Vonda Kolk emphasizes that trauma is not about weakness or malingering. It is the body's survival system hijacked. The veteran's nervous system continued reacting as if the war never ended. Analysis. This chapter sets the stage for a central theme. Trauma is not in the past, it is relived in the present. through bodily sensations, triggers, and altered brain activity. The suffering of veterans mirrors that of abused children, accident survivors, and assault victims, underscoring trauma's universality. Chapter 2: Revolutions in Understanding Trauma. Here, Vonda Wright outlines the historical neglect of trauma with psychiatry from railway spine in the 19th century to shell shock in the World War I. Trauma was often dismissed as hysteria or cowardice. The recognition of PTSD in 1980 marked a turning point, legitimizing trauma as a psychiatric condition. Yet even then, treatment was limited, focusing largely on symptom suppression rather than holistic healing. Analysis. This historical perspective highlights how culture and politics shaped what medicine takes seriously. Women's reports of sexual trauma, for instance, were long invalidated. The author situates his work within a broader struggle for recognition, showing how trauma research often faced resistance from institutions invested in denial. Part 2: This is your brain on trauma. Chapter 3: Looking into the brain. With the advent of neuroimaging, Kolk and colleagues discovered that trauma literally changes brain function. When survivors relive trauma, brain scans show hyperactivation of the amygdala, fear center, and shutdown of the prefrontal cortex. The Broca's area, responsible for speech, also deactivates, explaining why survivors often say they are speechless under stress. This chapter bridges science and lived experience. Survivors are not irrational, their brains are locked into survival circuitry. Understanding trauma neurologically validates what survivors feel in their bodies. Chapter 4: Running for Your Life. Trauma activates ancient survival systems: fight, flight, or freeze. These responses may save lives in danger but became maladaptive when chronically triggered. Survivors may oscillate between hypervigilance and shutdown. Analysis. This chapter links trauma to daily struggles such as irritability, poor concentration, and chronic pain. It illustrates why survivors often feel alienated. They are living in bodies primed for danger, even in safe environments. Part 3: The Minds of Children. Chapter 5: The Life of Children in Unsafe Environments. Childhood trauma disrupts brain development. Abused or neglected children adapt by becoming hyper alert to danger, aggressive, or emotionally numb. Schools often mislabel these children as disobedient rather than recognizing their survival strategies. Vander Kolk trauma informed education and care systems. Instead of punishing traumatized children, we must create environments of safety and atonement that rewire trust. Chapter 6: The Hidden Cost of Neglect. Neglect can be damaging as abuse. Children deprived of consistent care develop insecure attachment patterns, difficulty regulating emotions, and an enduring sense of unworthiness. Analysis: Trauma is not only about violent events, it is equally about absence of love, atonement, and safety. This chapter broadens our definition of what it means to be wounded. The imprint of trauma. Chapter 7: How trauma lives in the body. Survivors often experience chronic pain, migraines, gastrointestinal issues, or autoimmune disorders. These symptoms are the body's way of carrying unresolved stress. Analysis: The book here redefines many mystery illness as somatic expressions of trauma. It demands an integrative medical model that sees mind and body as inseparable. Trauma and memory. Traumatic memories differ from ordinary memories. They are fragmented, sensory based, and involuntary flashes of images, sounds, or bodily sensations. Survivors may not have coherent narratives, but instead experience intrusive fragments. This explains why traditional talk therapy, which assumes storytelling is healing, often falls short. Trauma survivors may not be able to narrate their past in linear form. Healing must therefore go beyond verbal processing. Chapter 9: Beyond Talk: The Limits of Traditional Therapy. Vanderkolk critiques traditional psychiatry's reliance on medication and endless talking. Antidepressants or antipsychotics may dull symptoms but rarely resolve trauma. Similarly, talk therapy alone cannot access the body based imprints of survival. This chapter challenges the mental health establishment calling for innovation and humility in therapy. Chapter 10, Healing Through the Body. Here Kolk introduces somatic therapies such as yoga, breath work, and mindfulness based practices. These methods help survivors develop awareness of bodily sensations and restore a sense of safety. Analysis. Emphasis is on creating new experiences in the body rather than reliving old ones. Survivors learn to inhabit their bodies without being hijacked by trauma. Chapter 11, Innovative Therapies. Kolk surveys alternative approaches. EMDR uses bilateral stimulation to help reprocess traumatic memories. Neurofeedback helps retrain brainwave patterns, giving survivors more control over arousal states. Theatre and drama therapy allows survivors to embody new roles and reclaim agency through creative expression. Chapter 12, The Power of Community. Trauma isolates, healing requires reconnection, whether in therapy groups, families, spiritual practices, or communities. Of shared experiences. The book ends by highlighting that trauma is not only a personal issue but also relational and cultural. Healing is not just about individual recovery but about building compassionate communities. Strength. Conclusion. The Body Keeps the Score is more than a book. It is a paradigm shift. Bessel Kolk dismantles outdated notions of trauma as weakness or mere memory, instead presenting it as a profound reorganization of the brain and body. The text is both sobering and hopeful. It acknowledges trauma's pervasive scars, but also illuminates diverse innovative pathways to healing. Survivors are not doomed to relive the past forever. In the end, the book is a call to both compassion and action. To heal trauma is not just a clinical task, but a cultural responsibility. By listening to survivors, honoring the wisdom of the body, and fostering safe communities, we can move toward collective resilience. So the last book which we're going to see today in this video is the What's Your Dream by Simon Squibb. The urgency of dreaming. Dreams are often spoken about in childhood but dismissed in adulthood. We ask children what they want to be when they grow up. But somewhere between school, career, and bills, the questions disappears. Society subtly encourages practically over passion, compliance, over creativity, and security, over self expression. In such a climate, dreaming begins to look like a luxury rather than a necessity. Simon Squibb's What's Your Dream arrives as a countercultural manifesto. Far from treating dreams as frivolous fantasies, Squibb argues that his book is both a wake up call that they are the engine of personal fulfillment and societal progress. His book is both a wake up call and how to manual, guiding readers to rediscover their dreams, articulate them with confidence, and take meaningful steps toward making them real. What sets this book apart from the thousands of motivational texts in circulation in Squibb himself? His story, homeless at 15, entrepreneur by 20, investor and philanthropist by 40, embodies resilience and transformation. More importantly, he is not simply a businessman, he is a dream activator. Through his social media movement, he has become known for approaching strangers with the question, what's your dream? And then offering mentorship, money, or connections to help them pursue it. This grassroots approach blending storytelling with direct action translates into the structure and spirit of this book. At its core, What's Your Dream is both a personal philosophy and practical toolkit. It dismantles the myths that hold people back, encourages bold self reflection, and empowers readers to act, even in small steps toward what matters most. Part 1, Why Dream? The opening section confronts one of the greatest obstacles to dreaming, the cultural dismissal of ambition as childish or unrealistic. Squibb insists that the opposite is true. Dreams are the most adult responsibility we have because without them, we risk drifting through life without purpose. Breaking the myths. Squibb identifies and dismantles several deeply ingrained societal myths. Hard work guarantees success. He points out that millions work hard their entire lives without achieving freedom or fulfillment. Success requires strategy, creativity, and alignment with one's dream, not just effort. Failure is final. In early, failure is a stepping stone. Each failure teaches skills, builds resilience, and clarifies direction. Squibb uses both his own entrepreneurial setbacks and stories from others to illustrate that failure avoided is growth denied. Security must come from passion. This myth convinces people to settle into careers they dislike, postponing dreams until retirement. Squibb reframes security as an illusion. Jobs can vanish, markets can shift, and health is never guaranteed. The only true security comes from pursuing meaningful goals. Part 2, Your Dream: Unearthing Dominant Desires. Many readers will realize they don't actually know. Years of routine, financial pressure, and societal messaging can bury dreams so deeply that they seem invisible. To help readers uncover them, Squibb offers questions and exercises. Barriers to dreaming. Squibb highlights the most common obstacles. Fear of failure, the inner critic that whispers, "What if I try and fail?" Lack of resources, believing that without money, skills, or contacts, dreams are impossible. Fear of judgment, worrying more about how others perceive us than what we truly want. Time scarcity, the feeling that life's responsibilities leave no room for personal pursuits. Analysis. This section blends psychology with coaching. Squibb's message echoes cognitive behavioral insights. Our belief shapes our reality. By reframing barriers as illusions, he empowers readers to move from paralysis to experimentation. Part 3, Follow the Dream. Start small, act now. Waiting for the perfect time is the enemy of progress. Squibb insists on immediate action, no matter how small. Want to write a book? Write one page today. Dream of launching a business? Test your idea with a single customer. The power of sharing. Perhaps Squibb's most radical advice is tell people your dream. Sharing creates accountability, it invites collaboration. Others may have resources or knowledge you lack. It combats secrecy and shame, which often keeps dreams hidden. Themes across the book. Dreams as purpose. Dreams provide the why that sustains effort through hardship. Without them, life risks becoming mechanical. Generosity and reciprocity. Helping of others is not just altruism but a strategy for growth. Dreams flourish in ecosystem, not isolation. Reframing fear and failure. Fear is a compass, not a stop sign. Failure is vision, not strategy. Entrepreneurship as a mindset. Though not all readers will be entrepreneurs, the book frames dreaming as inherently entrepreneurial, creative, risky, collaborative. Conclusion: a manifesto for courageous living. What's Your Dream is more than a self help book. It is a cultural invitation. It asks readers to stop suppressing their deepest ambitions, to resist the myths of safety and conformity, and to reclaim the courage to live meaningfully. Simon Squibb combines his own powerful story that are simple yet transformative. Start small, share openly, help others, and never fear failure. While not a detailed manual for execution, it is a spark, a book designed to ignite energy, clarity, and momentum. Ultimately, Squibb's central lesson is this: dreams are not indulgences, they are responsibilities. To ignore them is to live half a life, to pursue them is to unleash both personal fulfillment and collective progress. So this is all we have from these three books. I hope you guys like the books. I'll be back with another videos with another books. Till then, just take care and goodbye.